Good morning. Welcome back to Hiking with Kathleen. Today I'm out here exploring what might be one of the final snowfalls of 2023. Today's March 7th and I'm out on the trail. Snow fell last night. Had a chance to see some really beautiful tracks in the snow. Coyotes, deer, and that's the thing that helps you to see what has been using this beautiful setting and calling it their home. So I hope you join me on today's hike. On today's hike, I've had a chance to see all kinds of signs that even though there's snow on the ground, there's lots of signs of spring. We've had some returning birds, red-winged blackbirds, grackles, and of course a few more duck species that are making their way back in order to use their breeding grounds, which are in this area of southwestern Ontario. So that's been really exciting. So as we are sort of closing the door to winter in the next couple of weeks, we're definitely on our way to saying hello to spring. The thing to notice is that we are watching males, so these are bucks, white-tailed deer, and you can see how the trouble they're having walking on this crusty snow. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure I'm not frightening them, because I don't want them to get hurt. So I was just getting the camera set up, and I heard a thump. Turns out, as it happens sometimes, a squirrel fell out of a tree. I watched it as it sort of ran away, so I guess it's okay. It probably just got stunned or got the wind knocked out of it. So that was really cool. I just had a chance to show you that group of 3 bucks and a doe that were meandering through that open field, coming into the part of the forest where I was. And I could see that there was a bit of a sense of urgency after a few minutes that they wanted to get by me. So I left that area, and then I understood what happened. There was 2 border collies that were off leash, and they could see or sense or smell or hear the dogs, and so they were more urgently trying to find their way into the woods. The problem with deer running at a time like this, whether it's from predators, which is what they see dogs as, or just because they're afraid of people, is the ice crust that is on the snow that I'm walking on is very hard, so it's not easy for them to just sort of run through. They have to break through, but then there's also the slip risk. So that's why I was trying to be really careful to not frighten them so they wouldn't slip and fall unnecessarily because I wasn't posing a threat. So that's even more of a reason to make sure that when you are walking through the woods, you keep your pets on a leash, because it can cause unnecessary harm to an animal that's just trying to run away. Even if a person deems their dog to not be a threat, the deer doesn't know that if the dog isn't inclined to, harm a deer or any other wildlife. They just know that it's a predator-like animal and they run away. So anyway, you can hear the red-bellied woodpeckers are going to town here. So it's great. It's a vibrant day out here in the woods. So there are advantages to looking for wildlife in the winter. One is when you have a layer of snow on the ground, it reveals tracks, but also droppings. Droppings are more visible, like the ones that are of cottontail and white-tailed deer. They look very similar, but when you have a good look at them on a blanket of snow, it's easier to discern the difference. So therefore, you know what kind of animals have traveled through the area. The other thing is, you may remember if you saw last week's video where I'd hiked the part of the Maitland Trail, and Shannon and I were in an inn with a beautiful view across the way, and that's where we saw a fox running through the snow. Well, it makes things more obvious when animals of their natural camouflaged cryptic kind of coloration may not blend in very well with the snow. So it helps them to stand out a little bit better. So wildlife sightings are a little bit easier to find. The other advantage to observing wildlife in the winter is the branches of the trees and shrubs and many of the plants are bare. So they don't have leaves obscuring our view of animals that are just on the other side or trying to hide behind the branches. So although I am looking forward to my favorite season. My favorite season is the spring. And it's a time of year with signs of new birth, regrowth. And it's a hopeful time of year. I love all 4 seasons that we are able to experience here in the temperate zone of southwestern Ontario, Canada. But each season has its own beauty and has its own advantages. So anyway, I am looking forward to signs of spring as they are just around the corner. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a family of deer as they were creeping through the bush with their eyes set on me. Yeah, they noticed I was standing there, but because I wasn't moving a lot, they weren't feeling threatened. Their goal was they're going to try to scale the side of the bank in order to get to the flat surface. They were moving away from the snow-covered area, which was difficult for them to scale, and they chose a very precarious spot to cross over on this eroded hill. They're very sure-footed, though. I was very surprised that they could manage that hill. It has a slope of about 120 degrees. And once they reached the other side, they just happily continued on their way. Well, it's time for me to head home. I've been out here for hours. I hope you enjoyed all those wildlife sightings like I did, and I have a spring in my step. Hope I left you feeling that way too. See you next week.